CTC opened another round of political war. The certified true copy of the Supreme Court judgment created fresh confusion instead of ending the crisis. One faction says the judgment weakens the Wike-backed leadership. Another faction says the judgment fully validates Abdurrahman Mohammed and Samuel Anyanwu. This means both camps are now fighting over interpretation, not just leadership. If a court judgment is clear, why are both sides celebrating victory? The anti-Wike side is arguing that since the Court of Appeal had earlier upheld suspension of some party officers and the Supreme Court dismissed the cross-appeal, then action taken by the suspended officers may become questionable. This is a major argument being pushed against the Wike-backed faction. But the Wike's camp is pushing a different narrative. The Wike-aligned camp insists the Supreme Court never discussed suspension of Anyanwu, never handed PDP to Board of Trustees, and never recognized rival factions. The argument is, the appeal was dismissed, therefore the current leadership remains. This is why Wike publicly declared there is only one PDP now. Now let's listen to both camps and hear their arguments.
Yeah, Adedeji, and welcome to the morning show here on Arise News.
Good morning, viewers, and thank you for having me this morning.
Thank you. Thank you for joining us. Now let's go straight into the issue. It seems that the Wike faction of the PDP is arguing that the released CTC that has been cited by journalists across the country is not the actual judgment given on the day. Is that your stance here today before we get into some of the things that are contained in this judgment?
Well, we first of all, just to clarify this, before the Supreme Court judgment, we were a bit factionalized. I think after the judgment, there are no more factions. I stand as the National Vice Chairman of the Southwest. Abdurrahman Mohammed stands as the National Chairman, and Mr. Anyanwu stands as the National Secretary. So there's no ambiguity in that. I will wait for your next question.
All right, Engineer Duarte, thanks for joining us on the program. But of course, I see that your response was quite short and sharp. But I would like you to expand it when you say that you've mentioned three of the members, and you are saying that the party is unified based on the Supreme Court judgment. But that is not the reality on ground. A lot of people are worried about the PDP. Many of your members are saying that if the division is even a lot wider now. So by you affirming that the chairman of the party is Abdurrahman Mohammed, and that Anyanwu is still the secretary, and you are the national vice chairman, does that hold its authority to the judgment of the Supreme Court? Because the argument from the other camp is that the CTC affirms clearly by dismissing the cross-appeal filed by your own section of the party. And that, in effect, simply means that those who have been suspended, the legal advisor, the secretary, and all the other four officers of the party that were suspended, remain suspended by the judgment of the apex court. And therefore, any other activities that may have passed through them in your party remains null and void. And in essence, this is the reason why the other party has moved on with the BOT, claiming that they are now fully in charge of the party. So where did you see the unity that you are laying claim to, and to what authority do you owe the affirmation that you have just made to us?
My brother, good morning to you. Your question is so long that I was even thinking that you were the one that wrote the Supreme Court judgment. Anyway, to be quite candid with you, if you read that judgment, I'm not going to go deep into the intricacies of law, because I'm definitely not a lawyer. However, I read the Supreme Court judgment. I read the CTC, and yes, it affirms that it dismissed the appeal concerning Anyanwu, Ajibade and co. However, it also said, you are picking a paragraph on top. At the bottom, it said, what did it say there? It said that there was a caretaker committee that was established, and the court has affirmed that that caretaker, it didn't say the national office or the office Ajibade and co occupied. He has already dismissed that. However, the paragraph after says that the caretaker committee led by Abdulrahman and co. I'm just adding that. It didn't mention their names, but it said that caretaker committee has been affirmed as the authentic managers of the party pending the convention, because it also went further to say that because there cannot be a vacuum. Now, if we put a monkey there as caretaker committee member, or we put a cat, or we put a dog, or we put a cow, that is the prerogative of the People's Democratic Party. That caretaker committee that was standing at that time was affirmed. So that is my answer to you, so that we don't complicate issues.
Engineer Doherty, I think I'm slightly confused here because I didn't see where the court affirmed the authority of the caretaker committee. And in fact, that is couched by the court highlighting that since Anyanwu was also under suspension when he signed the documents establishing the caretaker committee and notifying INEC of the caretaker committee, arguably his actions were legally invalid.
No. What you are looking at, right? The interpretation, you are interpreting what you think the court is saying. Because if you are not in court, you really won't know what was requested by both parties in court. You understand? What the court is saying, you understand, is that this issue about Anyanwu and co is more or less belated. That is my interpretation of it, and that the party has moved on to put on a caretaker committee. You understand? So these are the issues that they are trying to interpret or misinterpret. However, let us say I'm not a lawyer, okay? And I'm not a judge, and I'm not part of the Supreme Court. But if there's ambiguity in that judgment, the rightful thing for them to do is to go back to court and ask for interpretation. That is the legal thing to do. It's not you saying you are interpreting it to suit yourself. You understand? Once we have gotten a judgment, you understand, that is clearly, you understand, says that the convention on this day has been cancelled, is null and void. Everything that follows is gone. Now, it is for them also to go to court and get the same thing in court. You understand? So, I think somebody is trying to be smart by half, and I would prefer that the press go ahead to conduct an investigative procedure on this before dishing out a long statement, to try and rubbish the judicial process that we have gone through all these months. I think the peace in the PDP is very important than any other thing. So I believe that this should end the ambiguity concerning all these things. If you are not satisfied with the court, okay, then go back to court for interpretation. I have the Constitution here, and if you look through the Constitution concerning the BOT, and you go to the 32.5, that Wabara, who is the I don't know what to even call him right now, but the Wabara took us in his statement on TV. He mentioned the issue of chapter 32.5. This is chapter 32, which is the Board of Trustees. It talks about the establishment and composition. It talks about everything. Now, when you look at the 32.5 he's talking about, it is quite explicit. The functions of the BOT, it's there. And in nowhere here does it say that the BOT can set up a committee or whatever to run the affairs. As a matter of fact, in 32, okay, 5H, it says, attend any meetings of any other organ of the party except the National Caucus. So it cuts them away straight away, and the National Working Committee. So they cannot.
You're pointing something.
They cannot even go
now.
into it.
But can you point out to us where in the judgment, the Supreme Court explicitly validates the leadership of Abdulrahman Mohammed?
Well, I will have to go through my phone and start looking at that, because I don't have the CTC here with me. You understand? Definitely. But I told you when I was saying it, I said it said a caretaker committee was established. I also corrected myself because I knew you were going to hatch on that. I corrected myself and I said he did not mention Abdul Rahman or anybody. So it is just the National Caretaker Committee, which I was also part of. So I can tell you for sure that the court did validate that.
All right, Engineer Duarte, where do we go from here? Because clearly the division in your party is getting wider, and the time for.
No.
Hold on, let me land on the question. Okay, go on.
Okay. Let me correct you on that.
Yeah, go on.
They have already moved on. Bala has moved on to PRP. Most of the members that he came with also have moved on. We only have one, somebody, a governor in Oyo State that seems to be latching on to the People's Democratic Party here, and then he's sending all his people to APM, I think. You understand? I don't know what kind of parties those are, but with all due respect to them, you understand, this is a country where your free will, your human rights cannot be tampered with, and it must not be tampered with. PDP has moved on. We have gone on to cell phones. We have gone on to, we'll start screening next week. We have primaries also coming up. We are following in some states the consensus mode of elections. In some other states, we are following the direct primaries. So we have our things going on. We've done our convention, we've done our congresses. Everything was even as peaceful as ever. You understand? So in the democracy that we practice today, you understand, definitely there are going to be alignments and realignments. I'm happy that the coalition came to Ibadan. Within 1 week, somebody invited them to Ibadan. Within 1 week, the coalition had already gone into tatters. Today, I saw that the chief security officer, Owosheni, former CP, Owosheni, that used to work with the governor of Oyo State, has been asked to go and pick up a ticket in Accord Party. You understand? Some of the commissioners that want to vie for House of Rep, they are all picking up tickets in APM. You understand? So there is a lot going on. I saw SDP on TV today. The chairman that I know as SDP on TV is not there, has come up today to say that, he doesn't align with what they are doing. So I see something happening in the future, and it's good for Nigerians to just get ready for a change, a paradigm shift in the alignment and the change of democracy in Nigeria, which will better the democratic process in this country. Because definitely we can't have a one-party state. When 5 parties came together, nobody shouted one-party state. When PDP seems to be working with APC, then there's a one-party state that is coming up. So I think a lot of things have to, journalists really have to try as much as possible not to feed the public or lead the public. Let the public get involved. Let them feel what is happening. Let me give you an example of something that happened. Just 2-3 days ago, a friend of mine called from Chicago. He was coming in from Chicago and his car broke down. He had a gearbox problem. Now, he couldn't fix it, so he got it towed to a filling station. At the filling station, they asked him that he needs to pay $15 a day for his car to stay there. So he called me, he didn't have any money. And I said, do you have a GTB card with you? He said, yes, but it's Naira, I can't do anything with that. I said, no, that you can do something with that. Take it to a bank, I will transfer money to you. It's a Saturday, there's no bank here. Go to an ATM, go and remove $200 from there and go.
Yes,
I said it is because of the floating of the Naira that has created that.
Engineer Doherty, it seems you are currently speaking for the APC government, but however, we're now going to turn to the Abuja studio where we are being joined by the Senior Advocate of Nigeria, Magaji Mato, who brings the legal perspective to this unfolding controversy. Welcome to the show, sir.
Thank you. Good morning.
Thank you for joining us. Now, we're currently discussing the recent Supreme Court judgment where both the appeal filed and the cross appeal were dismissed by the highest court of the land. How do you see this judgment? How do you, as a legal professional, as a SILK, a senior advocate of Nigeria, how do you interpret the CTC judgment that we're seeing come from the Supreme Court and the PDP leadership crisis?
Well, thank you very much. Interpretation of judgment is mostly the duty of the judiciary, not actually that of lawyers. I think the question should be, what is my own opinion or what is my own understanding of the judgment? I have read both the main appeal and the cross appeal and the judgment that ensued or followed thereof. I am of the view, and of course, if you look at the judgment and the pronouncements of the justices of the Supreme Court, the major issue there is that PDP as a political party and the members, the partisans and the actors therein should go back to the drawing board, sit down, chart a way forward. Because you have the appeal itself that was dismissed, and not only there, the same judgment of the Supreme Court said the conventions that was held in Ibadan is further nullified. Now, in the cross appeal, you have situations of representations of counsel and issues of some grounds of appeal by the other side, and they were dismissed. What that means, or the implication of that, is that both sides should go back to the drawing board, chart a way forward, and ensure that the life of that very well-known political party is saved. Bury their personal interests, bury their pride, and call all actors together, sit down and chart a way forward so that the party, PDP, which has been hitherto the ruling party in this country, should come back to life. Let them allow that party to breathe. Let them bury their personal interests and then move this party probably to the greater height it deserves to go. The party should not just be trampled upon like any other small party. It was at a time the giant party in not only Nigeria, but in African democracy. So the Supreme Court, I think in their wisdom, handed over a judgment that the implication is for every member of that political party to bury their personal interests and go back to the drawing board.
All right, Mr. Batu, thanks for shedding light on this subject matter, but I'm not sure if what you have said is sufficient in giving clarity to the matter, particularly the very germane issue of legitimacy, which is at the heart of the contention of what the CTC conveys. Can you explain to us in a language that will be understood by practically everybody before we get to why the two parties might need to bury the hatchet and come together to save the party, as you have advocated? What does the judgment actually mean? Because we have been speaking to Engineer Adedeji Doherty, who is the national vice chairman of the party, and is basically saying that it is the Abdurrahman Mohammed faction, which is the Wike faction, that now has legitimacy, that they have started selling forms, and they are proceeding with the primaries of the party. Do you think that the sort of legitimacy that is laying claim to is derived from the judgment of the Supreme Court? Does the CTC affirm that? I think it is that clarity that Nigerians want to know, so that we have an idea of what has actually, where PDP is as of today.
Well, as a lawyer and of course a non-partisan actor in the whole issue, if you have to go by the direct language of the judgment, there was an appeal against the judgment of the Court of Appeal, which later affirmed the judgment of the Federal High Court to the extent that the caretaker committee of the PDP, which had the Damagun and then had Senator Ayaw as the national chairman, national chairman and national secretary, should go back and organize a convention. Now, that was not done, and the matter came down to Court of Appeal, and the Court of Appeal upheld that judgment of the Federal High Court. But before then, the Turaki-led faction had already obtained an order at the High Court of Ibadan and permitting them to proceed to carry out their convention. That they did. And then when the matter came to Supreme Court, and that was done, as a contrary to the decision of the Federal High Court, still asking that the convention should be put on hold, and a candidate who happens to be the first respondent in the appeal before the Supreme Court should be given form, and then should be allowed to fairly also contest in the convention, in the leadership tussle of the convention that took place in the convention. Now, all these culminated to this level. That judgment was not complied with. That judgment was not appealed against, and then the convention took place. And here we are at the Supreme Court. They are saying that because the appellant, who is the PDP itself, the appellant is the PDP itself, came before the Supreme Court to say, oh, what we have done is an issue of leadership and is purely an internal affair of our party. Of course, our party is an independent association, like any other political party. So we conducted our affairs, and the court had no business meddling into it. So by implication, what they are saying is that even the Federal High Court and the Court of Appeal had no jurisdiction to entertain that matter. But the Supreme Court now said no, they had jurisdiction to do so. And what was their reason? He said, well, the general principle of law is that internal affairs of political parties are non-justiciable. But there are exceptions, and they gave out the exceptions. They say where the political party itself is in contravention of its constitution or the constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria and the Electoral Act, that any aggrieved party can approach the court and ask for redress. And in this case, they said that the action of the first respondent, which is His Excellency Sule Lamido, that it was justiciable and that the judgment itself was in order, and that the judgment of the Federal High Court also in respect of the leadership also of the PDP was also in order, because there was contravention of certain sections of the Constitution and the Electoral Act. And by implication, they say the appeal itself lacks merit and is dismissed. Now, if you ask me as a lawyer to interpret this, I will tell you that what that means is that whatever grievances that led to the appeal did not find merit before the justices of the Supreme Court, and then by implication dismissed. And if your appeal is dismissed, it means that you are you are not successful in the appeal. But mark you, there was also a dissenting judgment of the Supreme Court by Honorable Justice Samani, who said, well, he even though he agreed with the lead judgment delivered by Honorable Justice Ada on the issue of disobedience to court order and what have you, but that he was not in agreement with his brothers, with his justice's brother, that the internal affairs of the party should also be widened the way the Supreme Court widened it. What he's saying is that internal affairs of the political party only has to do with pre-election matters, but any other thing that has to do with leadership and administration of the political party, it remains an internal affair, not external. That the only justiciable action in respect of the political party is that of pre-election. So when you put all this together, and knowing fully well that a dissenting judgment is not the binding judgment of the court, what that means is that the appeal was dismissed. So what that means is that whoever is behind the appeal of the PDP that went to challenge this did not succeed. So the point is they have to go back to the drawing board and then see what they can do as a political party. There was no pronouncement at the Supreme Court that this is not a member of the party, so person is not a member of the party. But that what that means is that everybody should go back to the drawing board and save the life of the political party.
Thank you, Mr. Maso. We're going to bring Engineer Doherty back in now. So right before we started with the legal analysis, you were speaking about the floating of the Naira. It sounded like you were speaking about some of the wins of the Tinubu administration. When the 7-man committee led by Tom Ikimi had suspended Anyanwu, it was or expelled him rather from the party, it was for alleged anti-party activities. Do you believe it is anti-party for a PDP member to be supporting an APC president, an APC government, or also not fielding a candidate to run against the president or current president in the next elections?
Well, thank you very much for that question. You know, like I said, I go back to journalistic aim, that you need to investigate. You're talking about anti-party on one hand, you're talking about one-party state on one end, and you're talking about coalition, you know, so it's as if there's always a choice of words, you understand? Let me give you a very clear example, because I don't want to go deep and deep into all these things. I've been a member of the party for the past 27 years, okay? I will take an example of 2011 when Jonathan was going to run for his second term or first term, whatever you can call it. The president supported the PDP. was that anti-party. Bala Mohammed became the FCT minister under Jonathan's government. He was from the NMPP. Was that anti-party? You understand? So we can give different. Bola Ige worked with Obasanjo during Obasanjo's administration. You see, these are internal affairs of the political party. There's no ambiguity. You understand? A party, look at the UK just this weekend. Look at the UK. The Conservative Party and the Labour Party are talking about coming together because they are losing votes in some certain sections of the UK. You understand? You have the independents that are saying, okay, let us join another party. You understand? So there is a paradigm shift in Nigeria. This is the first time we're having a full-born politician becoming president of this country. You understand? So we in the People's Democratic Party are taking this position.
All right.
Within ourselves, let us look
Duarte.
for somebody that has, okay.
Sorry, you can just quickly round up what the position it is that you're taking.
Yes, let us look for someone, okay, anybody. Because all political parties have the same manifesto. We're all coming up with the same thing. Let us give credence where credence is due, and then let's attack where we should attack. In depth, in different things. But in PDP, let us find someone that has the same credentials. You understand? The same experience. The same everything.
Have you found that person in President Tinubu?
Different things.
Engineer Duarte, have you therefore found that person in President Tinubu? Is that what you're saying in essence? Let's be clear.
Listen, the tone you are using is derogatory.
I apologize. I'm just asking you to clarify because of time.
No, I am saying
yes,
that anyone can come and match. 5 people do an exam. The highest score was 65. The lowest score was 25. Does that mean that the person with 65 is a genius? No, but he's the best out of the 5. That's the way I'm going to answer your question.
No, you haven't answered
someone
it.
That can score 75.
Engineer Duarte, you haven't answered the question. You haven't.
President Tinubu out of all those.
Okay.
Listen to me.
Yes.
President Tinubu out of all those. Listen, we're
listening to you. Make your point, sir.
Come on,
make your
money
point.
Here or there.
Make your point, sir.
Can you let me listen? Don't do that. Because I knew you when you were working in Lagos State. Anyway, so let me explain myself to you. Okay,
Engineer Doherty, please, before
President
you explain
Tinubu
yourself, can we get a simple yes or no answer to the question?
That is what I'm saying.
Are you supporting President Tinubu's re-election? Yes or no?
I have said that. I have said no. President Tinubu is the best out of all the presidential aspirants that I have seen today.
All right, that's fine.
He's the best. So how do you want me to answer?
Okay, that's okay.
Yes
that's
or
okay.
no again?
This is all right. It's all right. We get your point, sir.
Come out today.
We get your point, sir. But we will go straight back to Mr. Barrister Matu, SAN in Abuja. Just for further clarifications. We appreciate your response, Engineer Duarte. So, Barrister Matu, please, we would like your clarification on what cross-appeal actually means. Because from what Engineer Duarte said earlier, it looks like the 2 parties involved in PDP might need to go back to the Supreme Court for an interpretation. Because it's still not clear. You were magnanimous in explaining certain areas as you understand them as a lawyer. But then what does cross-appeal means? The cross-appeal that was dismissed by the Supreme Court. And will this, if it is still not clear, to the generality of the parties concerned, will it require going back to the Supreme Court for an interpretation?
Well, once again, thank you. But before I answer you, please permit me to just join issue with the revered engineer. on issue of anti-party activity. And I think we have to put the record straight. You know, situations varies, fact of situations also vary. You will have if you have a situation where a political party unanimously supporting another political party, that cannot be an anti-party. But where you have an individual who is just not the political party, but a member of the political party, going against the wishes and aspirations of that political party, supporting another political party that has different manifestos and programs with its own, I beg to differ that the only way you can describe that action is an anti-party. What is anti-party? Anti-party activity means doing that which the political party itself does not accept. So that is on that. Unless where you have the entire party, i.e. the entire membership of the party, coming to a consensus that we are not going to field a candidate, but we are going to support XYZ political party. So, but where it is an individual within the political party that singled himself out to now go against the manifestos of his own political party and then supporting another political party, there is no better way to describe that action as nothing but anti-party. So coming back to the issue of the cross-appeal, the implication of dismissing the cross-appeal is that you're also, because cross-appeal simply means, oh, I am successful in the judgment, but I do not agree with so-so position contained in that same judgment. Even though part of it was in my favor, but this part did not favor me. So I am cross-appealing against it. So having lost it, it means that you have also lost the way you lost at the lower court, that is the Court of Appeal. So clearly in this manner, that is why, you know, when you listen to me in my opening remarks, I said if you look at the judgment of the Supreme Court, it's win-win. You have gone on appeal, your appeal was dismissed. You have gone on cross-appeal, which means that judgment that came to the Supreme Court was a judgment that favored both sides partly. So now both sides did not like the part's success and then approached the Supreme Court. And the Supreme Court said, oh, that position, you go away, you go away. It means that both parties were victors before the Supreme Court. And what that means is, and they kept emphasizing, the justices of the Supreme Court, that we need to save the democracy of this country. We need to make sure that democracy thrives so that no individual, because of his or her personal interest, will strangulate democracy, our nascent democracy. And because of that, they took that their balanced position. So it is to say that both parties are victors. Nobody is a loser in that judgment of the court, of the Supreme Court. So the only thing to say is parties should go back, bury their hatchet, bury their pride, swallow their pride, and then come together. It is possible, and it is something they can do. Forget all this idea of this side, this side. A political party is always wanting to have as many members as possible. When you say wicked side, can wicked side take side of all the needs of the PDP? And when you say Turaki side, can Turaki side alone take the needs of all the PDP in Nigeria across the nation? But what of when you bring the wicked side and you bring the Turaki side and put them together? What would you have? You will have a powerful political party, and that is the point. And if you look at the intention, the rationale behind the judgment of the Supreme Court, it is to that effect. It's not going to help us when each time we come, we take a position that is just expressive of our personal interests and what we want. We want the nation to grow. We want the democracy in the nation to survive. And if we want it to survive, then it means it's not about Wike, it's not about Turaki. These people, with all due respect to them, they are in their 60s. So will they just come because of personal interest and strangulate every good system that has been set in place? At the end of the day, what are we going to have remaining for ourselves? So it is about democracy, it is about Nigeria, it is not about Wike. Wike will do whatever he wants to do and get out of and get out of his office one day. Turaki will do whatever he wants to do and get out of the office one day. But the democracy must survive. And I think we should all be gearing our energy towards maintenance and survival of our democracy, not about individuals. Where were they before when all these things were happening? When Nigeria itself, when people, our forefathers fought for the independence of Nigeria. So is it now all about you, all about this person, all about that person? What of Nigeria itself? And what of the children that are still growing? What of the children yet unborn? What will they come and meet in the political space? This has been my position, and the earlier we understand this, the better. And I think I thank the justices of the Supreme Court for taking their middle course. It is not about who wins, because you brought an appeal, we dismiss it. You brought cross appeal, we dismiss it. Ask any lawyer. What that means is that both parties were aggrieved for the judgment, and that both parties on the other side were winners in the judgment. You got this, but you are not happy, you want to get all. And you came before the justices of the Supreme Court and they say you're on, go. What would they give you at the lower court suffices. And then you to go back, what they gave you suffices. What that means is that both sides should come together, arrange themselves, bury their different personal interests, and then if truly they are working for democracy, but if they are working for their personal interests, then they let them continue, and then let's see what that will produce at the end of the day. But then, just outside your question.
Okay, go on. Go on, please.
Yes, just outside your question. What I feel is that this is my personal view, and I advise that even the justices of the Court of the Supreme Court should maybe take this into cognizance in future engagement. For me as a lawyer, the more cases go to court, the more I earn my living. But it's not about my living, it's about the living of Nigeria. What I expect, my advice to them is that minority judgment, they should reconsider that minority judgment of Honorable Justice Simon Samani, to the effect that that narrowed down the question of internal affairs of political party to only pre-election matters. Because for as long as you now give an excuse or an exception to the issue of internal affairs, only that you are saying that when there is an infringement of the Constitution or the Electoral Act or the Constitution of the political party, that an individual can talk, I assure you, you will keep seeing cases with or without merit flooding into the cost list of our courts. And the whole idea of saying that internal affairs of a political party are non-justiciable is to reduce the burden of our court system, of our courts. And when you give this exception, you have not succeeded in curing the mischief, because the mischief is that actions that ought not to come before the court are coming before the court, and thereby choking the cost list and not allowing justice to thrive, not giving the justices opportunity to conduct research and produce sound judgment. Every day they are trying to meet up with one judgment or the other. So our judgment keep recycling. We don't see any industry from our judiciary. We don't see any new issues that are being raised. Gone are the days when a judgment of the Supreme Court is produced, you would want to read it 10 times, 20 times without getting tired, because wisdom has been emancipated in that judgment. So now they don't have that time. It's not their fault. I keep saying it. We inundate. If you go to Supreme Court now, you'll be surprised. There are more than 2,000 appeals probably that are waiting for only how many people to hear and determine. And at that age, when you advance and go to get to the Supreme Court, you know that, of course, age is not on your side. Even the energy, it might not be there as it was when you started as a judge. So I would expect, my advice to the judiciary is that they should reconsider this minority judgment, especially to the extent that it narrowed down the issue of what an internal affairs of a political party is, so that it will not be that you create an exception that will, at the end of the day, make no difference with or without the exception. Thank you very much.
Well, thank you very much, Mr. Mato, Senior Advocate of Nigeria, and Engineer Doherty, a factional leader, chieftain of the PDP. Thank you for joining us on the morning show today.